Broadcasting live on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Here's your host, Andrew Romanella.
Okay? Like, just get the hell out of here. Nobody cares what you think if you're not a Mets fan.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into a road edition of the Rome Show, broadcasting live from Rochester, New York. I'm your host, Andrew Romanella, and I am super stoked to be here with the people on location in my hotel room in Rochester. And I just couldn't take a day off, people, because we're coming off the Christmas holiday, and we had a fantastic week 17 in the National Football League over the weekend. Games on Thursday, games on Saturday, games on Sunday, and everything mattered. And we are going to talk about it today. The pleasantries are this: we're broadcasting live on youtube.com/the Romanellas. That's youtube.com/the Romanellas. Head over to the YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button, give us a follow. That's huge for the channel. And do not miss any of the latest content. It is not just the Rome Show on the YouTube channel. We have golf content. My beautiful fiance, Juliana Moves, the Pilates instructor, has some content. So much to do. YouTube.com/the Romanellas, Twitter X, and Instagram, the Rome Show 1. That's the Rome Show, then the number 1. And of course, Facebook.com/The Rome Show. All right, people, we got Monday morning quarterback week number 17, weekend's best, weekend's worst, and of course, Monday Night Football tonight, Rams at the Falcons. If we have a little bit of time today, we will be talking National Basketball Association, because the last time we talked National Basketball Association, the NBA Cup was about to happen, and the New York Knicks were squaring off against the San Antonio Spurs, who had just defeated the Oklahoma City Thunder for their second time in 25 games. Well, since then, the Thunder have lost 3 more games, a total of 5. 2 of those being against the San Antonio Spurs. So if we got some time, we need to break down the NBA, because it is getting ruckus in the National Basketball Association. But like we do every Monday, it's time for a little Monday morning quarterback. All right, people, here we go. So we're going to do it slightly differently today, because I know that not everybody might have seen the games on Christmas Day, and not everybody might have realized that football was being played on Saturday. Okay, so let's break it down. The entire slate of week 17, starting with Christmas Day. Now, we had 3 games on Christmas Day, and I got to be honest with everybody, they were really not that good of football games from the standpoint of the teams and what mattered, but they turned out to be some pretty good football games. The Cowboys, they defeated the Commanders in a shootout, 30-23. Dak Prescott threw for 307 in this game and 2 touchdowns. Josh Krosky-Merrick for the Washington Commanders, 11 carries, 105 yards, and 2 touchdowns. The Cowboys, they improved to 7-8-1. However, they cannot make the postseason. The Commanders, in what has been a throwaway forget about this season, fall to 4-12. The Lions, they had a chance. Their playoff hopes were still alive. They needed to win their last 2 and get some help. Well, they didn't even help themselves. On Thursday, they lost to the lowly Minnesota Vikings 23-10. 6 turnovers in this contest for the Lions and 5 sacks. That is just not going to get it done. And coming off of a 15-2 season last year, beyond disappointing for the Detroit Lions. It's one thing to not reach the pinnacle that you reached the year before. That's one thing. It's a whole nother animal to not even make the postseason. And it's another animal to not even look like a shell or a resemblance of anyone that you were last season. I would argue, though it wasn't an elite level year for Jared Goff, I would argue that Jared Goff last year and Jared Goff this year were the most consistent player on this Lions team. And everyone else seemed to not be that way, including the coaching staff. And just for comparison, in 17 games last year, Jared Goff, 72% completion percentage, 4,600 passing yards, 37 touchdowns to 12 interceptions. In the 2025 season, Jared Goff, 68% completion percentage, over 4,200 yards passing, 33 touchdowns to 7 interceptions. So you can't turn around and tell me that it's a Jared Goff problem, that's a quarterback problem, that the same reason why the Lions couldn't win the Super Bowl or the Rams couldn't get deep with Jared Goff and they needed Stafford. You can't tell me it's a Goff problem, okay? The last 2 seasons in Detroit, Jared Goff has done everything that this team needed to be a high-level football team. The defense and the coaching staff have not supported the quarterback play of Jared Goff. The Lions, they have been knocked out of postseason contention. The Vikings, who are already knocked out of postseason contention, are playing for, can we turn this guy, J.J. McCarthy, into something? Don't matter, though, because he's hurt. So Brosmer played this game. You ever seen a guy win a football game with 51 yards? Dude, Max Brosner did for the Vikings. Both teams sit at 8-8. The Broncos, they defeated the Chiefs 20-13. It was a licks. Weird. Stop me if you've heard that before. A fourth quarter touchdown by the Denver Broncos to have them win a football game. That makes them 13-3. And currently, I believe, tied atop the AFC standings. And they have the tiebreaker over the New England Patriots, who are also 13-3. So that win, huge for the Denver Broncos and their chance for home field advantage. Probably going to be pretty important for the Broncos, who are 7-1 at home. For the Patriots, doesn't really matter. In a wild statistic, the Patriots are undefeated this season on the road at 8-0. You can decide whether or not that's the teams that they played or however good they are. For the first time in a decade, the Chiefs not only don't win the conference or the division, they don't even go to the postseason. Wild. The real question marks become there. Travis Kelce, what's he do? Are you good on Andy Reid? Does he stay or does he go? And then obviously you want to make sure the health of Patrick Mahomes. There are 1,000 other questions that have to go on there, but those are the first 3 you need to start with. Let's get to Saturday's slate of games. The Texans, they played the Chargers in Los Angeles. I honestly feel like no one even realized this game went on. Nonetheless, the Texans defeated the Chargers 20-16. Both teams are now 11-5. Both teams have secured a playoff bid, so not a lot to write home about there. The Ravens on Saturday won a huge game just to give themselves an inkling of a thought of an idea that they could stay alive this season. They defeated the Packers 41-24. Before I go deeper on the Ravens side, shout out to Malik Willis. What a good game from Malik Willis. 18 of 21, 288 yards in the air and 1 touchdown, and then 9 carries for 60 yards and 2 touchdowns on the ground. Week 17, Monday, December 29th. Mark the words here on the Rome Show. Malik Willis will be starting in the National Football League for another team in the NFL, or he's going to be the highest paid backup because he's looking like the guy that was drafted to be this. However, it's taken him a few teams to get there. Doesn't matter, okay, because in the National Football League now, there are not enough good quarterbacks. So it doesn't matter how you get there. Once you get there, you got to take advantage of it, i.e. Sam Darnold right now for the Seattle Seahawks. I believe Malik Willis is that. Shout out to the Ravens. I know it's an injured Packers team, no starting QB, no starting Mike linebacker, plus other injuries. Tyler Huntley started for the Baltimore Ravens And he went 16 of 20, 107 yards and 1 touchdown. And Jim Harbaugh learned from his stupidity the week before. Derrick Henry carried the rock, 36 carries, 216 yards on the ground, and 4 touchdowns. And here's my PSA for the Baltimore Ravens, Harbaugh, and their fans. This is how you win the Super Bowl. Stop thinking that it's Lamar Jackson. Stop thinking that it's your defense, and start thinking that it's Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry is the reason you will go anywhere. Derrick Henry is the reason you will win anything. Why we're having this conversation on week 17, why this team is 8-8, though they've been losing their starting quarterback in and out of games the entire year, blows my mind, because they should have the best running game in the National Football League year over with this dude carrying the rock. And it's not always about gaining 10 yards, 8 yards, 7 yards, 14 yards on carries. It's not always about him running somebody over 15 yards down the field. Sometimes it's just about him hitting somebody, people feeling him, it being hard to take him down by the third quarter, even if he's only carried the ball 17 times for 56 yards. There's a lot of effort there, okay? Next week, Steelers face off against the Ravens. Winner, AFC North, playoffs, loser, golf course, vacation. Derrick Henry is going to be the key for this Ravens team to win that AFC North title. And why'd that happen, by the way? Because the Steelers with an atrocious loss yesterday against the Browns, 10-6. I mean, just bad football. The Steelers couldn't do anything on offense. The Browns, they were bad, okay? But the common adage has been, out of pressers, out of reading about this game, that the Steelers' game plan was to not allow Myles Garrett to get the single-season career sack record against Aaron Rodgers. And Myles Garrett said it so eloquently after the game in his post-game presser. He said, I think they cared so much about not giving me the record that they forgot to game plan to win the game. And kudos to the Browns. And kudos to the Dog Pound and Kevin Stefanski for this team continuing to fight. They've been blown away 3 or 4 games this year, but for the most part, another season goes by where if you're a Cleveland Browns fan, you're looking at it and you're going, maybe we really aren't that far off. I mean, our defense is legitimate. We can beat some of the better teams in the league. We're always fighting in games. Maybe we're close, but for some reason, you can't figure it out. I've been saying it from the jump. I think it's a general manager change, and I think it's a head coaching change. I just think it's time for a refresh, and you move forward. If you're 4-12 with Myles Garrett, with this general manager, with this head coach, if you haven't made the playoffs since Baker Mayfield left, with this head coach, with Myles Garrett, with this general manager, I think it is time. And you want to keep Kevin Stefanski, fine. He's done a solid enough job for what he's been handed in Cleveland. But the general manager's got to go. He's the clown that got rid of Baker Mayfield. He's the clown that signed Deshaun Watson. He's the clown that drafted 2 quarterbacks in last year's draft. I don't know which one's actually going to be good or not. But, man, there's some other holes on this team. So I'm not going to spend any more time on the Browns than that. They suck. But they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers yesterday, and now the Steelers and the Ravens are a 1-game Week 18 showdown. The Saints don't look now, but New Orleans has won 4 straight football games, and I believe 5 of their last 6. Tyler Shug looks like he could be the leader under moving forward for this franchise. There was 24 points scored in the second half by the New Orleans Saints to win this contest. Shug 22-27, 333. They're 6-10. Titans are 3-13. Jags, they defeated the Colts to win the AFC South by a score of 23-17. The Phillip Rivers experiment for the Colts, I'm not going to say a waste, and we're going to spend more time on this later in the week talking about it, but 0-3, come out of retirement, complete 65% of your passes, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. 2 of your interceptions in the last 2 games were game-clinching interceptions. I think Riley Leonard could have done that. We'll save it for another day, but the Colts, they lose again. They're out of the postseason. They're 8-8, and was it all worth it for Phillip Rivers? That's the question to be answered. Liam Cohen becomes the first head coach in the National Football League ever to have his team not only win their division in his first year, but win 12 games after being a that won 4 or less the year before. So shout out to Liam Cullen and the Jacksonville Jaguars. I'm not going to lie. I hated this hire. Hated it. I thought he was a loser the way he left Tampa Bay. And I thought the way he handled his presser was also weird. It all bothered me. But what we've learned in the game of football is we can put that stuff aside sometimes and just look at the football coach. And the football coach of Liam Cullen is really good. And it's clear and obvious because of how the Jacksonville Jaguars are. But also, look at the Tampa Bay Bucks, who suck right now. Okay? Especially on offense. Patriots, they slaughtered the Jets 42-10. They now move to 13-3, and it is a battle next week for the number 1 seed in the AFC. If the Broncos lose and the Patriots win, the Patriots will hold that number 1 seed in the draft. In the postseason, the Jets. Why I said number 1 pick in the draft? Well, the Giants winning makes the Raiders hold the number 1 overall pick. The Giants are 3-13. The Jets are 3-13. The Titans are 3-13. So there's a lot of battle there for the way the top 5 shapes up. We'll see what happens. Bengals, they defeated the Cardinals in a game of non-playoff teams, 37-14. The Dolphins, they beat the aforementioned Buccaneers 20-17. Solid day for Quinn Ewers. Question becomes in Miami, is Quinn Ewers the starter moving forward? The Buccaneers, what the hell has happened to Tampa Bay? I mean that honestly. Seriously, what has happened to the Buccaneers? They have 7 losses in their last 8 games, including 4 straight losses. And 3 of those 4 losses have been against teams that are not going to the postseason. And what's crazy is they started the season 5-1. Okay. And there was talk about Baker Mayfield, most valuable player in the league, and how good is this Tampa Bay Buccaneers team? And then injuries started to happen and things started to trend downhill. And your head coach is still Todd Bowles, which I don't think bodes well for you winning Super Bowl, winning regular season games to get to the playoffs. It just doesn't seem to push the needle. So I think not only are the Buccaneers playing the Panthers, who lost yesterday to the Panthers lost yesterday, excuse me. And so now we have a fight for the Panthers lost to the Seahawks 27-10. So now we have a fight for the NFC South. So the Bucs still have a chance. Panthers, they couldn't beat the Seahawks and secure that division. And then on top of that, wildly, and we'll talk about it in a little bit on Monday Night Football, if the Atlanta Falcons win 2 straight, somehow they're still in the – what an atrociously gross conference the NFC South is. Nonetheless, the Bucs could have done something for themselves. The Panthers could have done something for themselves, and they did nothing for themselves. The Giants, they defeated the Raiders 34-10. Good for the players in the locker room. Good for the franchise from the standpoint of feeling winning. Atrocious for the franchise from the standpoint of the draft pick. Atrocious from the draft pick in general. The Raiders, 2-14 now, looking like they're going to be the first overall pick in the draft. And the big part of that is what they can do with it. Do they trade it? Do they keep it? What's their plan going to be? Last night on or in the evening slate, the 425 slate, what an atrocious football game between the Eagles and the Bills. Bad decision by Sean McDermott to go for 2 late in the game. We're going to save that for weekend's worst and weekend's best. Okay. But the Eagles, they escape 13-12 in the first half of the game. This Bills, they scored 0 points. And in the second half of this game, the Eagles, they scored 0 points. So it was bad football. I mean, the Bills didn't score till 7 minutes left in the game. Like, it was bad football. Okay. But it was rainy. It was snowy. It was cold. It was just the conditions were atrocious. And neither team has been consistent really all year, though they're both sitting at 11-5. And what you got was a 13-12 contest with a bad 2-point conversion to end the game. for the Eagles to win. And now the AFC East goes to the Patriots. Finally, last night, the shootout that kept the 49ers alive in the NFC for the number one overall seed. They defeated the Bears 42-38. The one thing I would say about this game is both of these teams are going to need to figure out how they can get their defenses more locked in, because either of these two teams are going to be winning any playoff football games, despite how good their offenses are, despite how good Brock Purdy's been. I mean, they've won 6 straight football games since he's come back from injury, and he's got like 18 touchdown passes to 4 or 5 interceptions. Okay. I get it. That offense is good. Christian McCaffrey's good. Jawan Jennings having the best year of his life. I agree with all of those things. But if you're giving up 38 points, this is a Bears team that, though they're 11-5, and though they've been playing some good football, the amount of times the Bears have scored more than 30 points this season is 3. 4. 31 on the Browns, 47 on the Bengals, 31 on the Cowboys, and 38 on the Niners. This is not a prolific scoring offense that just dropped 38 on you. Okay. And on the flip side, if you're Chicago, this has been a defense that's proven all year to really never be this gapped. Okay. But a few times, which happens over the course of 18 weeks. But that was glaring on both sides, for both teams. This is going to be something defensively that is going to be question marks heading into. That is your Week 17 Monday morning quarterback, ladies and gentlemen. We are the Rome Show, broadcasting live on youtube.com/the Romanellas, Instagram, the Rome Show 1, and Twitter X, the Rome Show 1. You can comment live on the show on any of those sites and give us your thoughts on the National Football League or anything else we got going on here on the Rome Show. We take a quick commercial break. We got best and worst of the weekend and a Monday Night Football preview for the people. I cannot wait. I hope you can't either. Stick with us here on the Rome Show, on location, Western New York. Andrew Romanella back after this.
What is one thing every great leader has in common? They challenge their people to not stop at the first right answer. Tighten the Lug Nuts is a leadership book that will teach you how to move past the first right answer with entertaining and detailed examples founded in real-world concepts and experiences. Accelerate towards your professional goals with Tighten the Lug Nuts, one of the best leadership books available.
All right. Welcome back into the Rome Show here. Broadcasting live on youtube.com/the Romanellas, Twitter X, Instagram, the Rome Show 1, the Rome Show, then the number 1, facebook.com/the Rome Show. We are on location. We are in northwestern New York. We are visiting the family in Rochester. Some of that family did attend that Bills-Eagles game yesterday. Wet and wild affair at what we call the world's greatest high school football stadium, Highmark in Buffalo. Nonetheless, we continue on with the show here, people. Write in, comment, subscribe, do your thing. The Rome Show podcast, wherever you get your podcast. We start now with weekend's worst and weekend's best. We don't have our full complement of sounders here on the road, so we're just going to give you our worst and our best. We have 2 here for the people in both columns, starting with your weekend's worst. Number 1 being the Bills' attempt at a 2-point conversion yesterday with a chance to tie, 5 seconds on the clock. Here is the attempt.
Allen looking to throw. Pressure throws. Incomplete. Don't see a flag. Eagles going to hold on.
He's on his heels. Eyes wide open. Just couldn't hit him. And my problem with the 2-point attempt, and I'll show it to you again while I explain it, is less about, the play call or Josh Allen missing
looking to throw. Pressure throws. Incomplete.
What are
Don't
we
see
doing
a flag.
Here?
Eagles going to hold on.
What are we doing here, Buffalo Bills coaching staff? This is not the game to go for 2. Besides the fact that throughout the entirety of the season, heading into that 2-point conversion, the Buffalo Bills were 1-6 on 2-point conversions throughout the entirety of the year, for the whole year. Okay? So you're already getting these right, or they're successful at a 15% clip. Okay? On top of that, you played 50 minutes of football. Okay? 50 minutes of football, and your team amassed 0 points. Okay? 0. 50 minutes of football. Now you've played 9 minutes and 55 seconds of football, and your team has scored 12 points. And it should be 13. You should be kicking an extra point for the win, but your special teams stunk and got the extra point on the first touchdown blocked. But nonetheless, you're still sitting here, 5 seconds left in the game with a chance to tie, go to overtime. The Eagles, as a team, had a collective 192 yards on this game. What are you doing, Sean McDermott? Kick the extra point, go to overtime, continue to stifle the Eagles offense, who was bad all day. The QBR for Jalen Hurts was 38.3. The rating was 71.5. Saquon Barkley had 68 yards on the ground. He was averaging 3.6 yards a carry. They were bad, okay? You held A.J. Brown to 5 receptions and 68 yards. The weather played into it. I get that. The cold played into it. I get that. Nonetheless, you had a chance to tie the game with 5 seconds left. You have held the Eagles to 0 points and about 50 yards in the second half for 30 minutes. Why would you go for that 2-point conversion? I don't care what the analytics. Do the analytics tell you that when you're at a 15% do something? Because even in baseball, if you get a hit 15% of the time, you suck. Right? Like in baseball, it's 3 of 10. You're a Hall of Famer. That's the cliche. Okay, well, if I told you to tie a football game or win a football game, we were going to go with our 15%er, what would you say to that? Because even with the blocked extra point, it's probably a 95% clip. That extra point to tie the game is going in, comparative to your 15% clip of how good you are at 2-point conversions. I think Sean McDermott might be getting in his own way as the head ball coach of the Buffalo Bills. We'll save that for another day. Your second weekend's worst gets handed out to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And here is why. Okay. I mentioned it before. If you missed the first part of the show, the Rome Show podcast, wherever you get your podcast, you can listen to Monday Morning QB Week 17. Here's the deal, though. This is why the Buccaneers are getting our overall weekend worst, hands down, bottom line, atrocious, because of the statistic of 4 straight losses to 3 teams that are not even in the postseason. And on top of that, okay, you controlled your destiny 4 weeks ago when this losing streak started. You controlled it straight up, hands down, easy, win 3 of your next 4 probably. You're in the postseason. Now you're fighting for your life here. And there's zero confidence, at least from my standpoint. 7 weeks ago, I'm all on this Bucs train. Week 10, I'm getting ready to rock. Getting ready for some football, believing the Buccaneers are a fantastic football team. Now, they've lost 7 of their last 8 and 4 straight and are fighting for their lives. So the Bucs, you were the worst of the weekend. And that Dolphins team with a rookie quarterback just got knocked out of the postseason. Like, Beat teams you're supposed to beat. The week before you lost to Atlanta, the week before you lost to New Orleans. Beat teams you're supposed to beat. That is the telltale sign of a great playoff team, no matter the sport. Okay? There are games that you are just supposed to win. There are games right now that you're supposed to win. And if you don't win those football games, how can anyone believe you're actually good enough to compete for a championship? You're listening to the Rome Show here on location. We're doing weekends worst, weekends best on any of the social media sites. I'd love to know what your weekends worst or your weekends best are. Head to youtube.com/the Romanellas, Twitter X, Instagram, the Rome Show 1, or Facebook, the Rome Show straight up. Let's get to our weekends best, and let's go with Brock Purdy. Our first weekend's best. Watch this dude slinging it, this backyard touchdown.
Quick with the play clock running down. He did. It's a boot. Purdy pulling back, stepping forward, throwing on the run, touchdown! What a
that
play,
right
Purdy!
there. This play right here. We'll watch it again. Hit the W, baby. This play right here goes to show you that Brock Purdy is in his bag.
Play clock running down. He did.
He is feeling himself, as the kids would say. Top on a dime, go backwards, cut inside another guy, and then just drop it really quickly to Kyle Juszczyk in the end zone. Brock Purdy, without a doubt in my mind, deserves our number one weekend's best for that play. And Brock Purdy, all year, once he came back from injury, especially, I said it yesterday to my brother-in-laws, and I'll say it on the show today. I believe Brock Purdy is the most valuable player in the National Football League. Why is he the most valuable player? Because look what he has been for this 49ers team, okay? Without Brock Purdy, I would argue this 49ers team is probably exactly where they were last year on the outside looking in. But since Brock Purdy has returned from injury, they have won 6 straight football games. Prior to him getting injured, they won 3 straight football games. This might be a wrong stat, but I think it's pretty on point. And if it's not undefeated, it might be 1 loss. But I think the Niners are 9-0 or 9-1, one of those two, with Brock Purdy under center. I mean, think about that for a quick second. That's how good he has played this season for the 49ers, okay? And to take a look at his statistics, let's see. All right, he has played in 8 games this season. I was close, not 9-0. He's 7-1 as a starting quarterback for the San Francisco 49ers, including this current 6-game winning streak. In that 8 games, Brock Purdy's thrown for 2,040 yards, 20 TDs, and 9 interceptions. Maybe not most valuable player from the standpoint of what his numbers look like because of the injuries, but I got to believe there's no way this team looks like this. Though Mac Jones did a good job as the backup. I get it. I just don't believe it. You can't have me believe in that. Brock Purdy, our number 1 weekend's best. How about your number 2 weekend's best? Thank you to the National Basketball Association. Thank you. Because what I got on Disney Channel or Disney, what I got from the NBA, from Disney on Christmas Day is one of my favorite things ever. Please check out this broadcast.
Makes it a 4-point game, a.k.a. 2 possessions. Mickey down the lane.
I chose this one for 2
Oh,
reasons.
my goodness.
Outside the fact that I get to watch Mickey take it to the lane and hammer it down. New York Knicks
by Mickey Mouse.
That's
came back
incredible.
from 17
But it's still a
down
2-point lead.
in the 4th quarter to beat the Cleveland Cavaliers.
He missed it again.
New York Knicks are now
Rebound by
9-1
Cleveland.
in their
Mickey
last
for
10
3.
games, and
Bullseye.
the New York Knicks
What in the
are a game and a half back from the Detroit Pistons for the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference of the NBA. It was a fantastic game. It was an awesome comeback, but more so than anything else, what the NBA does, the NFL does it too. I think I saw a Monsters Inc. game. We've seen a Toy Story game. This is something over the last few years that these leagues have started to do. I think it's genius. It's so entertaining. It draws in a whole new fan base. The kids love it. I love it. I'm 35. I love it. I'm sitting here, I'm like laughing. I'm like, this is awesome. I almost want to watch this over the game. That's the first part of this weekend's best. The second part is Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks. Knicks are playing some really good basketball. And how about Jalen Brunson, by the way, ladies and gentlemen? Brunson in the last 10 games with which the Knicks are 9-1 is averaging 32.6 points per game. I mean, that is filthy when you really break it down. Also, in terms of the entire league, Jalen Brunson is 7th in the league in scoring, averaging 29.5 points per game. That's your weekend's worst and your weekend's best. Feel free to sponsor the weekend's best, weekend's worst segment. Reach out to us on any of the social media sites, or you can email us, theromeshow1@gmail.com. It's up on this new hoodie release order form, romeshow1.com at gmail.com if you want to order a hoodie that I'm wearing, obviously, because they're fire, or obviously sponsor a segment. We're looking to start 2026 with a few new hoodies out there and a few new sponsors on the Rome Show. Speaking of the National Basketball Association, I did this real quick just so people could have an idea. Here's the Eastern Conference standings. The Pistons at the top still. How about that, right? So bad last year to now the number one team in the East, at least 35 games into the season. But if you notice, the Knicks and the Pistons have really started to separate themselves from the pack. We were talking about this a few weeks ago, where there feels like a lot of parity in the NBA. There feels like a lot of teams that can win the NBA championship this year. What's going to happen as we get later? Well, as we get later, those teams at the bottom, they really start to separate themselves in a bad way. So now you finally have that line of demarcation. You have those top two teams, maybe three. It's hard to include the Celtics because I at least didn't think they were going to be doing this with Tatum hurt all year. But Jaylen Brown is averaging 30 a game, so that helps. He's also could be a superstar in his own right on his own team. But right now, I think the Pistons and the Knicks in the Eastern Conference are in their own category, okay? And then you have this bunch of teams in the Celtics all the way down to the Heat and the Cavs that you don't really know what to expect, because those same teams sitting in spots 3 through 8 could be also in spots 1 and 2. It's like one of those weird conundrums right now in the National Basketball Association, and it doesn't look that way on the Western Conference side. Both Eastern and Western Conference have a lot of parity this year, but what I have noticed in the last 2 weeks is the top of the West is above and beyond better than any realm of the top of the East right now. You have 8 teams in the Western Conference, 7, between seeds 1 and 7 that are 5 games or more over 500. You have 4 teams in the National Basketball Association in the Western Conference that have 20 or more wins, that are 10 games over or more 500. 6 teams, 9 games or more over 500. And the crazy part about saying all that is the Golden State Warriors are 16-16 in the 8th seed. Okay? And they should and could be 30 times better. So the depth in the West is the difference in the two. But right now you see with that little bit of a stutter from OKC, okay, after starting 25-1, they're 3-4 in their last 7, including in those 5 total losses, 3 to the number 2 placed San Antonio Spurs. We mentioned the Knicks. Detroit on the flip side, on the Eastern Conference side, 3-3 in their last 6. And some teams are starting to play really, really bad basketball. And it's starting to trend the opposite direction for them. It's moving time in the NBA. 30 seconds, commercial break. We come back to finish the show with our predictions on Monday Night Football. The Rome Show on a Monday, on location. Andrew Romanella back after this.
What is one thing every great leader has in common? They challenge their people to not stop at the first right answer. Tighten the Lug Nuts is a leadership book that will teach you how to move past the first right answer with entertaining and detailed examples founded in real-world concepts and experiences. Accelerate towards your professional goals with Tighten the Lug Nuts, one of the best leadership books available.
All right, welcome back into the Rome Show here. We are broadcasting live on location, Rochester, New York. We are in the beautiful Hampton Inn. Hope you're enjoying our setup here. We put together an entire new on the road setup here for the Rome Show so we can make it a little bit more professional while traveling. As the people know, I'm a college baseball coach, so the turn of the year means 4 or 5 weeks of broadcasting the Rome Show from a lot of different locations. All right. So I wanted to make sure that we improved this setup for the people. As you can see, we got ourselves a new little board down here with all these cool colors. We got the new microphone stand that connects in, and it all travels with us. So the Rome Show should be staying with you as close to 5 days a week as possible. Let's finish this thing off with a little Monday Night Football preview. This game is important. Okay, way more important than I think anyone thought it was going to be when you saw the schedule. First and foremost, it feels to me as if the Atlanta Falcons have been absolutely not even in the picture, or doesn't matter at all for them. Well, for them individually, it doesn't, but they can really shake this thing up if they win their next 2 games and finish 8-9, along with the Buccaneers and along with the Panthers. But nonetheless, this is about the Rams, because nothing that the Falcons can do is going to get them into this postseason, I believe. The Rams, however, are sitting at 11-4. The best they can finish is 13-4. Now, I think it's a long shot for them to be the number 1 seed in the NFC. But after coming off of a loss to Seattle, okay, and you're 2-2 in your last 2, and your schedule is pretty easy to finish, Atlanta and Arizona, you're really looking to go into this postseason on a high if you're the Rams. They're top 5 offensively in yards per game, total, passing yards per game, and points per game. Their defense is not the problem, but oftentimes the problem, ranking between 12th and 17th in all important defensive categories. The opponent's points per game, 7th at 19.9. Atlanta is mid at almost everything outside of the rushing game, where they're averaging 124.6 points per game, good for 8th in the league. The bottom line here is the Rams are the better team, and the Rams should win this football game. They're favored by 7 points here, and I'm going to take the Rams with the 7 points on the road. If you want some side props with this one, though, give me Bijan Robinson, anytime touchdown scorer, and give me him over the 80 barrier on the rushing yards. Could it go more? Yes. I don't know what his line is right now, but nonetheless, I'm more of a tease it guy when it comes to my bananas and the props. Give me the Rams -7 tonight, Monday Night Football. That's the Rome Show on a Monday, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate you for tuning in. It's been a blast on the road. We'll be back tomorrow morning in the hotel room. I'll put it up on the social media at what time? Sometime around 7, maybe 8. Nonetheless, put your notifications on, subscribe so you know, and we'll see you tomorrow, an Electric Monday, and I'll see you. Peace.